We are also trying to get information on the IPOs that we are tracking for the past couple of days. Suyash has the details. Suyash?
Yes, Shweta. So very strong. I mean, if you look at the markets, they might have been lackluster, but the primary market, Shweta, has been seeing a lot of
so much
activity,
momentum in the IPO
momentum,
market.
You know, 4 IPOs, by the way, are going to close today. They'll close by about 5 p.m. So if you have not subscribed, perhaps you can still subscribe. Tata Tech, for example, let's begin with that. Tata Technologies is the first IPO from the Tata stable after in nearly 20 years. The last time they came out with an IPO was back in 2004 with TCS. Their entire issue has been subscribed by about 63.69 times. Now this is as of 3:30 p.m. In today's session, and you know, if you look at the retail portion, that has been booked by about 16 times. But the real, you know, shocker for me, Shweta, was the you know, QIB part, the qualified institutional investor part, which the book was on the whole booked by about 181 times. And if you look at the non-institutional buyer book, that was filled by about 61 times. So all in all, very good participation we saw in Tata Tech IPO, and even the employee portion has been subscribed by 3.5 times. So strong interest we are seeing in the IPO. It's still open. You can perhaps you know, if you want to subscribe to the IPO of Tata Tech and other IPOs, you still have about an hour or so to do that. Another IPO that I would want to touch on is Gandhar IPO. Again, we saw a very strong participation in that. On the whole, on day 3, it was subscribed by about 62.13 times. QIB book portion was you know, fulfilled by about 121 times. So again, strong interest from qualified institutional buyers. The non-institutional buyer book was filled by about 63.7 times, as you can see on your screen. The retail portion was also filled by about 28.75 times. Moving on, let's also look at Flair writing IPO. Flair writing IPO, between the 4, you know, I think it's the third most subscribed IPO. The entire issue was subscribed by about 47.24 times. The QIB book was filled by about 116 times. Now this is again as of 3:30 p.m. NII portion was filled by about 35 times, and retail portion saw subscription of 13 times. Moving on to Fedbank, that was perhaps the muted of all 4, but again it was oversubscribed almost twice. You know, the entire book on day 3 was filled by about 2.09 times as of 3:30 p.m. today. Retail portion was booked by about 1.82 times. NII portion was filled by about 1.45 times, and you know, the QIB portion was filled by about 3.07 times. Now, sir, I mean, I'm looking at Tata Technologies. Overall, if you keep aside that Tata brand, that Tata company, would you say it's a good business to enter into? Because I was looking at their financials and their reports. They have a huge concentration risk, because 40% of the entire business comes from JLR and Tata Motors.
No, exactly. I think, Suyash, you're right. But looking at the kind of track record, you know, from the Tatas 17 years back, and after that, they have never done a public issue. So, you know, this could be the same, you know, kind of event for Tata Technologies, because they want to do an OFS just to get their value, their business, you know, valued on the stock markets. So my sense is that, you know, the concentration risk is high, but the opportunity for growth is also equally large. The markets would initially, you know, look at this stock as a kind of a same replica of TCS, what it was in its early days. So I think we should not be surprised if the stock gets listed in the 4-digit mark initially.
4-digit would be almost you know, twice, because 475 to 500 is the price band for the entire stock, and Mr. Gorak Shakar over here expects a 4-digit you know, perhaps booking. And even if you look at the grey market premium of Tata Tech, Shweta, 350 rupees premium, so 70% from here on
a very
itself.
lucrative business to enter by the way of an IPO at this point.